Hey, what's up? It's Noel back here again with video number 3. Hooray! Of the archived videos, my 280ZX restoration, and these are videos I originally recorded in 2021 and then put on the shelf, never came back to, but I'm coming back to it now. And this video today picks up partway where the previous video left off. This would be window removal, glass removal, as I was working on the wire harness and the dashboard removal. I realized that I have those sweet electric windows, and if I wanted to get that glass out, I couldn't pull all the wiring, or else I'd be up the creek. So, took a break in that video to pull out the glass, and here is the process I used. Followed the manual. Let's dive right into it. Let's get sexy. So anyway, according to the manual, first step you want to do here, you got to pull the glass out. What you got to do, roll the window up so that you can get access to some of these stopper bolts and the mounting bolts for the glass. First thing you're going to do is remove the forward and rear stoppers that just stop the window from going up. A couple bolts here. Obviously you've got to have all of your trim pieces pulled off and your door cards pulled off to get to these, but if you're at that point like I am, it's pretty straight ahead. I'm going to remove the rear stopper. Going to remove the front stopper. The next step going to be the mounting screws that will just mount your glass to the actual window regulator. A couple of screws. Be careful not to lose those inside the door itself. And you can just lift the glass straight out the top of the door. Kind of got to wiggle it around a little bit to get clear of the guide rails. It comes straight out. And then, of course, if you know me at this point, I like to label and bag everything and tape it all together, keep it organized. Plan with these windows, not going to be restoring these right away, as with almost everything else. Eventually, I will actually restore something on the car, but I'm still working on the tear down, I guess, at this phase. So these windows will be going into storage for a while, so I'm going to just wrap the heck out of them with, I got some old towels and just taped the heck out of the windows. But I think I had some extra wide exterior masking tape for painting, and I just, literally wrapped the shit out of those. I already did one window, so you only get the removal process for the passenger side, but it's identical for both sides. Get one window wrapped, then I'm just going to continue with a lot of tape, a lot of towels, and I just kind of wrapped them together here as a package set so that they could go into the storage unit. They'd be all together, nice and safe. I'd rather spend some money on towels and tape as opposed to having hunt down new glass, which can be a pain in the ass. So please ignore all the grind marks there on the hood. I had never grinded anything before, so I was kind of fucking around trying to get an idea what to do, and so I did create some extra work for myself, if I'm being totally honest. And I'd come back and I'd learn. So again, learning process. Moving on to the window regulator removal. First step is going to be removing the front guide rail. Just a couple of bolts there at the front side of each door. You're going to have to kind of wiggle that through the rest of the regulator, through the opening there at the bottom. That's the only way to get it out. I did try going out the top. It doesn't work. I don't know. Just a little bit of effort and focus. It came out pretty easily through the bottom there. Next step is going to be removing the actual regulator mechanism and the power motor. That's about 8 bolts all here on the inside of the door. If you've got a factory service manual, highly recommend. Gives you detailed instructions. Just follow it step by step. And once you got those loose, it comes pretty free. Next step with the power windows, gonna have to disconnect the wiring there, feed that inside the door so that we can maneuver the entire assembly again out through that bottom hole. This is a pretty tricky process, and there's not a whole lot I can say about it except that you just kind of have to keep trying it and keep working it. There's a lot of bends, there's a lot of angles there with all those different rails. Go slow and be real conscientious about not pinching your fingers between some of those railings, because I did it a couple times and I gotta tell you, that hurts like a real bastard. Learning process, go slow, and you'll be faster on the second one, I guarantee it. You might be wondering why I had committed to removing the glass and the regulators, and you can see just briefly right there, there was a whole lot of corrosion on that regulator mechanism, a lot of rust. So, I figure if I'm torn down this far, I might as well just pull those out and also go through those. After that main regulator assembly comes out, next step is going to be removing the rear guide rail. 3 fasteners there, I want to say 2 on the inside of the door and then 1 on the end of the door there. Feed it through the hole in the bottom. You're free to go. There's one side done. So you can see there's a lot of the rust and corrosion on that regulator. I'm going to go through that, grind off a lot of that rust, clean it up, treat it, and then also re-grease the entire assembly so it continues to function. And I gotta say, it did make a big difference. When I originally had moved these, they were real creaky, they moved real slow. Put a bunch of new grease in there, and I think that took a lot of stress off of that old motor. So I think it's a good idea just to try to preserve the life of that regulator motor. Don't make it work so hard, especially if you're like me and these have never been restored before. After 40 plus years, maybe a good time to take a look. Doing the same here now on the other side. Definitely went faster. So I am learning. Or I'm at least getting less bad. So there you go. 2 windows out, 2 regulator assemblies out, and we can pack that all up, put it in storage, and move on to the next steps. And of course, I probably sound like a broken record here, but I'm going to label the heck out of everything, bag everything, try to keep it together so I don't lose parts. Because I am an amateur, an enthusiastic amateur. But next step here is going to be removing the quarter panel glass. This is not really a long technical process. I think it's pretty straightforward, but it's another one that just requires time and patience and going slow because, again, these windows are old, harder to replace. So you got a couple of bolts there, front and back. Those come out, and then there is a butyl tape that fastens the glass here to the body. The trick I found for this is just heat and scraping. I've read that you can cut your way through it. I did try that a little bit, didn't have a lot of luck. I found it was just more effective to hit it with a heat gun, work it around some of the corners, some of the edges, and then just get in there with a plastic scraper and start scraping out the butyl there. I mean, it's kind of slow, but not terribly slow. I think 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, you can get these warmed up and pulled off. And working real gently. I had a screwdriver there, flathead. That's probably not the best tool, but it's what I had. And just really, really gentle. Heat it up, scrape it off the excess, and then gently work your way around there. And you can see it comes free. These windows had bad seals on both sides. They were not watertight, and there was some corrosion, and looked like there was some kind of nasty, I don't even know. I mean, I feel like there was mice skeletons in every freaking corner of this car. It seems everywhere I started working, it was like something else they had gotten into. So anyway, got that window removed, and now I'm just trying to clean up as much of that excess butyl as I can off the body and off the glass here. And again, same process of just hitting it with a heat gun and then scraping it off. It's kind of a slow process, just methodical, take your time. It's kind of rewarding though too, when you get a big scrape of that goo off there. These will go into storage also, come back to it at a later time. To do a real proper cleaning job for these windows on the glass, I'm probably going to need to use rubbing alcohol. I scrape off all the heavy buildup of the butyl over the years, and then later I'll come back with some rubbing alcohol and break it down so that I can put a new sealer on there, and once the car is ready, slap them back on the side. So there you go. There's the door windows and the quarter panel windows. I decided to keep the rear hatch glass intact. The seal seemed okay, and I didn't have a lot of bad corrosion around that, so I think I rolled the dice and gambled and decided to keep that in the car. I did go ahead and remove the windshield, which unfortunately, sorry, I was lazy and did not document. There was a whole ton of rust corrosion all around that frame. There was no way I was going to be able to treat that and grind that out with the glass intact. So the glass really did have to go. In fact, there was some metal that was almost completely eaten away there near the dashboard. But I did a real crappy job of that. I had a buddy come over and we just used Harbor Freight tool, steel wire, and a couple of handles, and he used that to cut the window out. If I, had done a good job of it and not completely destroyed the windshield, then maybe I would feel confident in sharing my process. But honestly, I didn't do a great job of it. I had to get the window out, and I sacrificed it in the process. So if you're looking for a good video about how to remove a windshield and keep it intact, I'm sure there's some out there, but I don't want to give anybody steps when I didn't do it very successfully myself. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Next coming up, it'll be working behind the dashboard and pulling out a lot of the climate control system and really starting to dig into a lot of nasty, deep surprises that were buried behind there. Thanks again for watching the videos. I really would love if you've got the time to give me a like and a subscription. Let me know that there's something redeeming in this process. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, see you next time.